Kia ora everybody, welcome or welcome back to the channel. Today I have for you a very long awaited completed pages. This completed pages will be everything that I coloured in the month of July, as well as June, as well as May. I am very behind in completed pages, so we're going to do a mega completed pages, which means that a video that is usually incredibly long is going to be really long. So if you haven't already, make sure you get a drink and some snacks and, get comfy and get ready for a very long video. So if you're new here, this has stumbled across your feed, kia ora. My name is Amy. I am a colorist based in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I do a lot of colouring each month. But like a lot of people, we have up months, we have down months, we have months where we need to focus on our self-care and our mental health, and then some months where we go incredibly hard and do a lot of colouring. And basically over the last few months I have been having to need more self-care time. There's been days that I've wanted to play video games rather than colour, which is usually my mental wellness activity. So yeah, the last few months has meant that I've been a bit delayed, plus some other things like I had a surgery, and then some other stuff going on behind the scenes that I won't talk about publicly. So yeah, basically it is a bit of a chaotic spread in terms of the months. So you can see here I've got May, and then I have June and July in tracked, but I did still keep track the color changes when the month changes over. So I did keep track of where, like, what I did each month. I just haven't posted anywhere about it. So what I figured I'd do is I'll take you through May, then I'll take you through June, then I'll take you through July, then I'll take you through all the whips that are now left at the end of this, and then we'll go over some totals at the end, because yeah, it's a bit hard to do it otherwise, but I figured that was the easiest way to do it, plus then I'm not using up all my bookmarks in one go. Alright, so let's start with May, which of course was Mermaid. Mermaid is one of my favourite colouring prompts. I just closed this, but I need it open. I don't even have it here. I did create a list of everything that I wanted to do in Mermaid. I might have gotten rid of it, which is sad, but I had a massive list of everything that I wanted to do in May because I love Mermaid. I colour both Sea Friends and Mermaids and Water Buddies, and yeah, the list of things I wanted to do in May was huge. And basically, I only coloured half the month of May. My last entry is the 16th of the 5th, and then we got to the end of May and I had to take some self-care time, and I just started playing video games instead. So yeah, it's interesting for me. I normally go very hard in May, but yeah, I stopped halfway through, which is kind of sad, but also, that's what we needed. So I did manage to complete 22 pages though in the first 2 weeks of May. So I'll show you what I did. So the first 2 pages are from a Colouring Heaven magazine, a Little Mermaid special by Fabiana Cherry. I love this issue. I think this is a really gorgeous one. I love Fabiana Cherry's work and how she does portraiture. And so I had already done one in here, but I did another 2. So I did this one here, which I think is number 20. Some of the numbers on these are a bit skewy in terms of how they line up. If you buy Colouring Heaven digital magazines, if you buy them off Etsy, they come in a weird split of free parts for one magazine, and it's such a weird split, and the numbers change in terms of the order. So like part 1, you'll have image, like front cover, they'll have the image and the number will be on the back, but then it will cut it an odd way so that the next one, the number starts on the front and the image is on the back, but that means the image that's on the back, the next half has the number that relates to it in the title. So yeah, it gets really screwy with how the numbers line up. So basically, buy the Colouring Heaven digital magazines from the Colouring Heaven website. Let's do that, Etsy. Listen, learn. Anyway, side part. This is the page that I did. So I used a mixture of watercolors and actually some inks in the background, and I created that sort of watery background effect. And then I used polychromos pencils to color her in, and I pulled out some like glitter markers for the coral because basically I couldn't be effed with the coral, so I just colored it in with a shimmery marker. And then what you'll be seeing here is there's some shine because there's actually stickers. So this had a bunch of intricate jewelry, and this whole issue has these really gorgeous intricate jewelry pieces everywhere. Like the jewelry in this is stunning. But again, I really couldn't be bothered that day. And I have these like jewelry stickers. So I found 3 that were in the red tones and just kind of layered them and cut into them a bit and stacked them up to make her jewelry and just stuck that on in place. And I really love how that turned out. Yeah, that's my first page in here. And then I also did this one, which may be number 8, A Mermaid's Garden. I'm not 100% sure. But I did this one here. So this one is going to be fun to try and capture because it's very shimmery. The background is iridescent watercolors and inks again, just all buckled around. And then again, there is the metallic marker, polychromos pencils to shade her, some Mod Podge sparkle on her tail, so she's got a bit of glitter there. And then I also used white acrylic ink to splatter everywhere as well. And yeah, those were the 2 pages that I did in Colouring Heaven's The Little Mermaid issue. And then a new book that month was Underwater Worlds by Renata Krozak. I am probably mispronouncing that. This one was a gift that I received in the month of May, and then when we received it, we started colouring a page immediately, which was this octopus page, which I really love how this turned out. This book is super duper cute. So for this one, I just used the Castle Art Harmonious pencils, which was a new set of pencils that I got gifted that month. So yeah, Castle Art Harmonious pencils, and then again a little bit of like shimmery pens just for bits and pieces around, just to add a little bit of iridescence. But mostly it was about trying out the pencils and seeing what the colours look like and how they laid down, and I really enjoyed them, so I like how that one came to be. The next one I have is Sirens Den or Mermaids Around the World. This is by Diane Dufour. And I have the Dentist Mermaid here. And this one was actually a buddy colour with the wonderful colouring Bumblebee. And I will make sure I insert the image here for you so you can see how gorgeous their version turned out. I love, love, love how they did theirs. Colouring Bumblebee, and I actually messaged to do this, and she chose the page, and she didn't realize when she chose it that it was a dentist. She just saw the cute animals and was like, cute animals, and was like, yeah, it's a dentist mermaid. Yeah, so that was fun. But yeah, I love how Jess colours, so it's very happy to buddy. I had a few issues colouring mine, but I like how I got it to in the end. So I did use iridescent watercolor all for the background, and made it all shimmery in the background again. I do a lot of shimmer watercolor this month. And then polychromos pencils for all the shading, and I started like layering some stuff over the mermaid to make her a bit more iridescent, and it just kind of laid all chunkily, and yeah, it was going down kind of messy, but I managed to make it work. It's not bad. It's not the smoothest application, but it's not bad, and I do like the fact that she's also iridescent. I'm particularly happy with the background. I love the sort of yellow to blue green gradient in the yellow water. I think that one turned out really cutely. So yeah, that is my page in Sirens Den by Diane Dufour. Right, I have Bad Girls Special by Colouring Heaven. This has got a collection of different artists in it. And I did this page here. Now, I don't know how to pronounce this name. it is all one word, ROSRYSOWANAMAMA. But they are a gorgeous illustrator. I done another one by them in here. I love their style. It's just so cute. Yeah, I did this frog page here, which was a lot of fun. So once again, there is a lot of watercolor ink and iridescent watercolor for the base, which I just kind of let that bled everywhere and created a base layer. And then I came in with pencils and did a little bit of shading, a little bit of defining. And then I had these glitter brush markers, and I actually used that for the water and streaked it across and left little parts of where I put the smudgy watercolor base coming through. And I really like that effect. I really like how this comes together. It's got that sort of sparkly wet dew reflection, and yeah, I really like how that came together. Plus it's just so cute. Such a cute little frog. So that's Bad Girl Special by Colouring Heaven. We have Polar Bear Adventure, which I should have translated the illustrator. Really should pre-set up that. But we have this page here. So this one is just the title page for the like a title page for the next section, which I really like. I think it's quite a cute little contained image. And I just used Inktense to colour the majority of this. I did go over it with a little bit of iridescent watercolour and then some Mod Podge Extreme Glitter on the bubbles just to sparkle up the bubbles. But yeah, that one's pretty straightforward. Just a little bit of Inktense and then a little bit of sparkle. I like how it came together. It's very cute. This whole book is very cute. So I do want to get in here and do some more in here too. Very, very cute book. Little Mermaid's Friends colouring book. This is by Teresa Goodrich. And I did this one here. So this one is done again with a base of, I think, a mixture of ink and watercolour is the base here. Yeah, and then there is a little bit of shimmer here too. Most of them had a bit of shimmer. I don't think I was intentionally making this one shimmery. I just think there was so much shimmer in my paint water at this stage that it just became shimmery. And then, yeah, it's just polychromos to shade on top and a little bit of a gold gel pen for some details. Really simple, but I really liked how it came together, and the fact that the pencils are slightly sheer, so you get that tint of the water underneath it. That makes me very happy. And this is such a cute book. I love, love, love. I wish it was single-sided, but I love the Little Mermaid Friends. And I just got the Pretty Princess one as well, so I'm looking forward to colouring in that one. That's by Teresa Goodrich. Cute Chibi Creature Colouring. So I actually did two in here. It is such a good little cozy book if you are wanting something cute and cozy but a little bit more detailed. This is by Phoebe M. So I did two, as you might have just seen with the little sneak peek there. I've done this Mermaid, and I do these pretty simply. I just use alcohol markers and a bit of paint pens for some highlights, and then I've used some glitters and sparkles and stuff like that. So that one's pretty straightforward, but super cute. And then the other one that I've done is this unicorn one, which I love, love, love how this one turned out. Now this one's actually a buddy with the Beautiful Perfection cider, so I'll make sure I insert their copy here as well. It's such a cute page. You can't go wrong with this one. So thank you, Perfection, for buddying with me. And yeah, for mine, again, alcohol markers, some paint pens to do all the highlights, and then I pull out different glitters and sparkles just for like the little hearts, and I think your cheeks have got a little bit too, and yeah, just a little bit of shimmer in a few places. Yeah, I really love how that came together, and again, I don't know, I just have fun sort of doing some simpler colouring in here. It's super cute. Right, we have another Colouring Heaven issue, and this is the Mermaids Special. So this one's another mixture of artists. So I'm going to start at the back here with Playtime. This is by Dawn Davidson. And so this is another one where I used watercolor in the background, iridescent watercolor, and then I went on top with polychromos pencils. So I didn't use any glitter markers or anything this time, so it's just the pencils and the watercolor. And I just really wanted to do like a different style water as well. So I really like how this worked in terms of the background and that sort of messy, watery, toony background, and then the shading on top of these two. And a very muted color palette. This is not my usual color palette, but I really like how this one came together. And it was fun to do something different for Mermaid as well, because quite often, you know, the colors can be quite similar. And then speaking of the colors, I also have this one here, which is by Christine Karen. Now, this one is actually a buddy color with Stardust, and I will put up Stardust image here, but you will see Stardust has a completely different image. And there is a reason for this. So during May, the beautiful Erica of Elm Colors puts out a mermaid inspired palettes, and these usually 4 different ones. And she did that again this time. And if I can find the image, I'll insert it here so you know the palette that we used. And so what Stardust and I did was we decided that we were going to use the specific palette on a Christine Karen page. So that was our buddy. We weren't necessarily doing the same image because we didn't always have the same image, the same Christine Karen image to work on, but we were like, okay, let's buddy up and use this palette on a Christine Karen, but whatever Christine Karen we want. So that's what we did. And that was a really fun buddy to do. It's like a really fun way to approach it. And yeah, so if you're looking for a different kind of buddy, that might be a really good idea. I really enjoyed doing that, and I'll be looking to do that again at some point, where instead of having the same image, it's the same palette, same illustrator, but maybe different images. So yeah, for mine, I used, again, iridescent watercolor in the background. And then this is Inktense, and it is literally 4 Inktense colors that I pulled out to match the palette. So there is a dark blue, a aqua, a pink, and an orange. And I just wanted to work with the 4 colors and just see what I could create. And I really like how it came together. Like, it was really fun. I love the skin. The skin just makes me so happy with all these color blends. And then I did use a little bit of white acrylic ink on top and just splattered that around just to add a little bit more on top. But yeah, really, really happy with how that one turned out. And that was such a fun buddy. Thank you, Stardust, for the buddy. And thank you, Erica, for the color palette. Alright, Symphony of Cute Animals. This is by Kanoko Agusa. And I did a big double page spread in here, which is this one here. And it probably doesn't look particularly like the original, because it does not. The original page had a coral with a bunch of fishies here, and then had these 2 cats in the boat with a wallpaper pattern on this side. It wasn't a double page spread originally, and when I looked at this page, I loved the kitties in the boat. I did not like the pattern in the background. I was ambivalent about the coral with the fishies. I should have painted around the fishies and kept the fish. But at the time, I was just ambivalent about this one. So I was just like, you know what? We're just going to paint over the whole thing and do a collage page, because I thought that would be really fun. And I did have a lot of fun. So I painted around the whole thing, leaving just the kitties in the boat from the original page. So I used acrylic paints and like a metallic acrylic paint in the background. And then I started pulling out and seeing what we could stick onto the page. So I've got a couple of dolphin cutouts that I found, and like this little turtle, which I love, some shells here, and then these are stamps that I had. So I stamped out the mermaids, and then I colored those in with colored pencils, and then I have some jellyfish stickers as well. So I just kind of stuck those all around. And then the bubbles are some like holographic paper that I punched out little circles of, so I stuck those on to make the bubbles. And then I grabbed paint pens to do like the seaweed back here, the little goldfishies, because there's just a couple of like spots that needed a little something, and adding in some extra small white dots. And then the whole thing has been covered in Mod Podge extreme glitter to not only seal everything down properly, but to, you know, add that sparkle. So apart from the kitties, and then the kitties themselves were done in polychromos pencils. So yeah, that was a really fun page to do. Again, it doesn't look anything like the original because this pattern has been covered and that, but I'm really happy with it, and I had a lot of fun doing it. nothing wrong with painting out areas that you don't think you'll ever colour. I'm not a fan of wallpaper backgrounds. So yeah, that worked great for me. That's Symphony of Cute Animals by Kanoko Agusa. Right. Millie Mariotta, Secrets of the Sea. I'm not a huge fan of this one, to be perfectly honest. It's a shame because I love sea creatures. I love ocean creatures. And Millie Mariotta's work is quite fun. And the 2 pages I have done in here, I'm just very meh about. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with this book. But yeah, I started off by doing the ink and watercolor background, which did bleed through tremendously, but not worried about that. And then, so after I did the background, I was just like, you know what, we'll just pull out paint pens and we'll just follow the pattern and just do different paint pens. And it's cool. It's got a cool patchwork vibe. Like, it's got an interesting vibe to it. I'm just not the biggest fan of it, but it was fun to try it out, to try out the idea. But yeah, I wouldn't do this again, but it was fun to try. And sometimes it's not bad to do that. So I need to do something in here that I actually like. Oh wait, no, I think there's one. I think because there was a buddy that I did, and we did one in here purposely so I would have a page in here so that I would like it. The penguins. I'm sure the penguins are in here. Maybe not. Oh no, there it is. I do have one. I stand corrected. I have one. I have one in here that I like. Okay. Okay. I mean, it's not bad, you know. It's fun to experiment. I'm glad I tried the method. I just realized it wasn't for me. I'm not a huge fan of how it turned out, but we tried it, and that's the main thing. So yeah, that's Millie Mariotta, Secrets of the Sea. I have Spooky by Sarah Schweizik. I've probably mispronounced that. She has a new book coming out soon. But I did the Axelottle page. It's so cute as well. And once again, we have iridescent watercolor background. This one also uses some, instead of iridescent watercolor, actually, this one uses some shimmer spray that I have. I have this navy shimmer spray, and every time I spray it, something about it just seeps through the paper, and it's too dark, so I don't use it often. But I have discovered that if I would put down a layer of water first and then drop it on, it has this really cool effect. You can see how much it bleeds through. Like, the ink just drops in the paper. So it has to be on single-sided, but I really like how it bleeds. So that's one way I've been using up that shimmer spray a little bit. Of course, it's going to take me ages because I only use a drop at a time. But hey, it uses it. So yeah, I did that for the background, and then polychromos to shade, and a little bit of Mod Podge sparkle on the actual axolotl, because that's fun. Probably should have like done a gloss layer on the whole bowl or something, but I'm happy with it. I think it was cute, and I like my little sparkly axolotl, and I like my watery background, which was really fun. And it was quite simple, but you know, sometimes that's perfect. So that's Spooky by Sarah Schweizwick. I have Daydreams by Hannah Carlson. And I did, for Mermaid, the classic Mermaid page. The big double page spread. This one was really fun. I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought I would. So for this one, I used watercolor in the background, and you can see there, because I actually applied some shimmer spray to it, and it just how much this shimmer spray can bleed through at times. So I applied the watercolor and the shimmer sprays and Mod Podge, not Mod Podge sparkle, sorry, iridescent watercolor, and it kind of went all splotchy, and I don't know what happened. I normally don't get this sort of effect where it's like separating like an oil spill, but I freaking love the background. The background's actually my favorite thing of this page, and I don't know how I did it. But if I knew how I did it, I would do that effect again because it was cool. And it's just my usual splatter stuff on the page and let it do its thing. So I don't know what happened there, but it's cool. And then for her, I used Prismacolor pencils, and I also used a bunch of like shimmery paint pens to fill in details as well. And I do like how she came together. She looks really cool, but the background's still my absolute favorite of this page. I just love the sort of marbled effect that I somehow were pulled off and need to figure out how to do it again. So yeah, that is Daydreams by Hannah Carlson. I have the Mermaids by Selena Fenwick Grayscale edition. And I did a couple in here. I tend to do very simple pages in here when I do work in here. It's really straightforward. It's just alcohol marker, a little bit of pencil shading, usually some splatter and some shimmer and some glitter. So yeah, alcohol marker base, a little bit of pencil, and then splatter, ink splatter across the top, and glitter on the tail. So that was bath time. And then I did Impossible Love. I do regret my color choice for the wing. It does make this water fit in, but it would have been better if I'd done like brown or something and kept it all harmonious, because now your eye just deviates up here to this big flat splotch of blue. But at least it does tie in. And yeah, there's a bunch of glitter at the bottom and a bunch of shimmer on the wings and stuff like that. Bunch of splatter. It's fun time. They're really simple, but I enjoy them. And then Lily I did because if you know my history on the channel, I had both this grayscale book and another version of this book that I brought from a local person. And the lined version of this book, the paper was, I've never had paper like this. Like, it's so difficult to explain the paper, but it was like, you could like color in this arm and it would just go so splotchy. It was like there was 3 types of paper in one. Was wild. So it's the only book I've unhauled because of the paper. So the page that I was testing a lot of this on was Lily in this other book. So I was like, you know what, we're gonna color Lily in the grayscale and just have a Lily that works. And I love how she turned out. I love her bright pop of pink and then this sort of gold pink shimmer of the flowers behind her, and of course the glittery tail and all the splatter. Yeah, I really love how she came together. So those are the 3 that I did in grayscale coloring by Selena Fenwick. And then the last one that I have for May is Animal Adventurers by Nicole Gustafson, who is Nima Sprout online. And I did 2 in here, and this was actually a buddy with the wonderful Cassie, who is a streamer on Twitch. I can't remember if we did both or if we just did one. I'll put Cassie's up here anyway. I know definitely one got done. I can't remember if Cassie did both of them or just the one. But I'll put it up here and show you Cassie's gorgeous, gorgeous colouring. And yeah, so I did 2 pages in here. So the first one that I did was this Otter page. I'll take it out of the plastic so you can get it without the plastic shine. So once again, this is like shimmery inks and watercolor and iridescent watercolor in the background to create that sort of mottled feel. And then I colored in the image with polychromos pencils. And again, because this is a PDF that I've printed, yeah, I really like the little pops of gold and sort of like the way that the colors bleed out. I love doing these sort of watery backgrounds to fill in a page, especially with shimmer. This really makes a page. So that's the otter page, and then we also did the blowfish page, which I love the blowfish page. It's just so cool. And yeah, I did pinky purple water here because again, I like to also play around with my watercolor. I don't want to do it all just blue, so I do play around with different colors for the water because I think it's fun. So yeah, this is again iridescent inks and watercolors and different bits and pieces that I play for the background. I usually just have, like, I'm doing all these backgrounds at once, so I usually have my watercolors set up and my inks and the iridescent watercolors, and I just have them all in front of me with a big pile of water, and I'll just choose a couple of colors at random, let it bleed through the page, put the book down, choose another book, choose a couple of colors at random, water the page, bleed it all together, put it down, choose the next book. So that's basically my process. So I'll do like 8 or 10 backgrounds all at once, let it all dry, and then come in and do all the pencil work. So yeah, that is everything that I did in May. So now let me go and get June's pages. Okay, we have the next pile. So this is June. So in June, I didn't do a lot. I did do a few pages. I was still very much recovering from the burnout / not feeling like colouring vibes that I'd had in May. So again, the first half of May, like I did a couple, but there was a big gap. So I did like a couple on the first and the second. I did a couple on the about the 6th, just 6th, and then a couple on the 9th. And then I didn't do any until the 20th. So yeah, there was a lot of time in May where in June where I just didn't end up colouring again because it just wasn't the vibe. But I did receive some happy mail, and so I decided to start colouring in some of those. I got my first ever Chameleia and Jacob, which was lovely. So we did this one here, the Phoenix. So this is just alcohol marker and some shimmery pens. Again, it's not a lot of detail, but it was just a fun little break, just dabbling in, getting back into it. And then I got 50 woodland creatures. So my first page in that one was this page here, which again is just alcohol markers. There is a little bit of pencil shading on this one, some paint pen highlights, and of course a little bit of shimmer. And then we got 50 monster themed miniatures, and this one is going to return for June because I ended up doing a lot in here in June. But the first page I did in July. It'll return in July. The first page I did in June, it's going to get confusing with all the months, is this one here. So again, this is alcohol markers, a little bit of coloured pencils, and some paint pens, and again, a little bit of iridescent sparkle pen. So yeah, those were the 3 pages that I did in Chameleia and Jacob. And then I ended up doing a page in the Epic World of Tolkien colouring book. And this ended up actually being a buddy with a few people and forming into a little group. So the wonderful Cindy, Paula and Candice, we all joined together to get this page done. And I'll make sure I include their versions here. And I absolutely love how we all took slightly different approaches. So some of them have the 2 individual books, and then some of us have the Epic World of Tolkien combined book, like I have here, this massive book. So we are going to do a few more in here as well. But this is my version. So this is Orum, the Huntsman of Valor. And so I played around with, I got Gansai Tumbi granulating watercolors, so I was playing around with those in the background just to see what would happen. I really like how they work for backgrounds. And then I used Inktense on the actual image with a little bit of pencil shading and a little bit of metallic gel pen, but it's pretty straightforward. I think the sketchy style of this really suits just being loose and just having fun with it. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I do have a buddy in here this month with the group. I did write down the numbers in the group. I'll have to look up the numbers, but it's a big double page spread. It's got dragons in it too. It's really cool. Yeah, I'll have to look up the numbers in the group, but it's a really neat book, and I'm looking forward to doing another page in here. And thank you again for all my buddies helping me get another page done in there. So I ended up doing one in Grains of Gold by Hannah Carlson. And it's just a simple one, but it was, again, really fabulous. So again, I was playing around with the Gansai Tumbi granulating watercolors. Love how they work for these backgrounds. I love the fact that they granulate to different colors. Like, this sort of background is one of my favorites to do. So perfect background for me. And then I just used jelly roll pens, a bunch of Sakura jelly roll pens, and like sparkles and metallics and different bits and pieces, and just colored in the jars as is. So pretty straightforward, obviously rainbow order. Yeah, really simple coloring, but just a really fun page and a great way just to experiment in the book. I do want to take that same watercolor. I think it would make a really nice background on this side to color in that one. Yeah, that was my page in Grains of Gold. Simple but cute. And then in Small Victories, so at the end of June, on the very last day of June, I actually had a surgery. I had a hysterectomy, which finally, I've been on a wait list for that for a long time, so I finally got my hysterectomy, which is great. I am 4 weeks post-op now, and absolutely fabulous. But yes, we did one page, and so I did that night while I was in the hospital ward. This is one of my hospital travel books. It's a really easy book to travel with, and so I just did these ones here. So it's not the greatest colouring in the world, because admittedly I was pretty doped up after surgery, but it does the job, you know. It was just some fine liners and some gel pens and just like the random stuff that I had in the pencil case with this book. So yeah, not the best colouring in the world, but that's not the point of this book. This book actually lives in my hospital bag, with some random supplies. I have a bag that is there ready to go in case I ever fall and need to go into hospital. I have a video about this actually, of my hospital emergency bag, which includes all the art supplies that I keep in there, and that includes this book. So this book doesn't usually live on my shelf. It lives in that emergency hospital bag ready to go. So when I went in for my surgery, I just raided the bag and pulled a bunch of stuff out, because there's a good chance, you know, use up the toothpaste, use up the toothbrush, all the portable travel stuff, use it up, replace it fresh. And so I grabbed the colouring book as well and took that in with me because it's a good travel book. And yeah, so that's the page I did post-op. That was Small Victories by Joanna Basford. And then the last book I have to show you is Any Day by Morgan O'Brien. So this massive folder is actually Any Day plus Any Day Autumn and Any Day Winter. So it's all 3 books that I've printed out and combined into one folder. I really like having them all together in one. And I've been working my way through Any Day with a very specific colour palette for Annie and a very specific style for the whole book, and I've got quite a bit done in this book now. I really like how it's coming together. So we did a few more of these, so this one here, and so for all of these I use Crayola Super Tips as watercolor, and then some paint pens as well, and then I'll add in other bits as necessary, like washi tapes or gel pens or different bits and pieces. So for this one, there is washi tape on the couch with some of the super golden markers for that gold edging and the gold frame up here. And then this background is actually the Gunzo Tambi watercolors. And then the rest of it is just Crayola Super Tips with paint pen. I really do like how that one came out. So that was our first one. And then I did this one here, this floral wreath one. I'll pull out the one behind it too while I'm at it. So this one here, again, Crayola Super Tips is watercolor. There's also super golden markers, a little bit of stickles just for all the flowers, washi tape for her dress. I really like how her dress came out in this one. And then behind it, we have Annie journaling. I love the blanket. I want a blanket like this. So yeah. This one is just the Crayola Super Tips, super golden markers, and then Mod Podge extreme glitter for that. I freaking want a blanket like that, folks. I want a blanket like that. So those two. So basically I was just working in order and filling in gaps where like I hadn't coloured a page, and I just didn't want to think that day, so I just coloured in order. So we've got berry picking, and we've got the one behind it again. So yeah, berry picking. This one was pretty simple because it was just, you know, blue, green, and grey, and then dotting in some purple for the flowers here. I ended up using some paint pen as well to make really dark blueberries, but all my effort actually went onto her because this is multiple different washi tapes that I layered. And I really love how that came together. And then again, I used super golden markers to just do the little bits of purple, just to sort of separate and define. But I love her outfit here. It's one of my favourite outfits. And then we have the patchwork one, which again, water-based markers, Crayolas. And then I did use a lot of washies here. So her outfit is washi that I layered. But then all these here are different washies, and then I pulled out different paint pens to layer on top to create different patterns. And yeah, I really love how that came together. It's so colourful and rainbow. It's those two. Yeah, I did a little bit in Any Day. It tends to be what happens is I'll do a big run in Any Day, and then we won't do any for a while, and then we'll do another big run of Any Day. Okay, and then we've got this double page here. So we did the Making Clothes for Matchstick Mouse, which is super cute. So they have the same washi tape for her outfit and then Matchstick's outfit, and the hat, all made from the same washi tape. And then I did use washi tape for the tablecloth as well. And then again, rest of it's Crayola Super Tips. I didn't use any glitter on sparkles on that one, which is very surprising. And then I think this one is the last one. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one. This is Annie painting. This one was, honestly, I had so much fun. So again, Crayola Super Tips for everything. And then what I did was a bit of Mod Podge sparkle over there because, you know, I wanted that. And then I also gave it glitter paint, so she's got a little bit of glitter paint. And then for all this paint splatter, I just used paint pens and I would dot it on and then use my finger and smudge it. And I just wanted her to look like she was a messy painter. It just made me very happy. So yeah, I did put in a lot of paint splatter, but I really, really love the idea that, you know, she's just a messy painter. She just really gets into it. So yeah, that is the last one from Annie Days, I think. I know we're getting quite far into it with this book. I think there's only a few more left in the, yeah, because I've done those two. Yeah, so there's not much left in the first Annie Day book, and then it's all done. And then as you can see, I've got autumn, and then I've got winter at the back too. So yeah, might carry on with some more of that this month. You never know. So that was everything that I did for the month of June. And so now we will carry on with July. Okay, last pile, month of July. So I did a lot in July. I found my colouring mojo again, and as a part of that, I ended up being very, very productive in what I've done. As you might be able to see by this pile, so anyone that knows me knows that I am trying to stop using post-its, and I'm at a point now where I think I have enough bookmarks that I will never need post-its anymore, which is great. And as part of that this month, I also made a lot of bookmarks. And so I've got two sets of artists here. The first one I have is Rita Prince. I was just merging two artists there. So Rita Prince on her Etsy has a lovely sheet that has 4 bookmarks that you can buy, and they are gorgeous little bookmarks that I have coloured in. These 3 here have all been done with water-based markers, and then a little bit of Mod Podge extreme glitter on top, and maybe like a gold gel pen or bits like that. And then this one here I did actually colour with pencils, and a black fine liner, and then again covered it in Mod Podge extreme glitter. I forgot this tiny little space and it's going to annoy me forever. And then, of course, I laminated them, which was a big purchase that I made this month. I finally brought myself a laminator, and I was so excited to have one, which also sped up all the bookmark making. So I did the actual bookmark set that she has. But then I also brought, find the other ones. There they are. I also brought her, she has a 6-pack of illustrations, and so I brought those and I printed them half size, and I've made little bookmarks out of these. This is something that I will often do as well. I've done that with Mariola Boutique and a bunch of her free little portraiture ones and different bits and pieces. So I brought the 6-pack from Raider Print and basically made rainbow girls. What I called them, my rainbow girls. And I really love those. So those are 6 new bookmarks. And then I also brought, she has a 15-page pack of assorted illustrations that you can use. It's like a minis pack. And so for that one, I printed them double size. And I've done 1 page so far. I've got a lot more that I want to do, but I did 1 page so far, which is a bunch of the different girl characters in various poses. And so for these, I use water-based markers, but as watercolor, and just colored in each of them. So as I said, I printed this one double size, so I printed the page as a A3 page, and then coloured them in and laminated them, plus Mod Podge Extreme glitter. Everything's covered in glitter. And so yeah, that was a bunch of the Raider prints ones that I created. And then the other one that I did was Ellie Marks. So Ellie Marks is also on Etsy. I chose Ellie Marks because she has a video where she shows herself drawing and sketching and illustrating these bookmarks. So I felt confident buying from her because it was hand drawn and I really loved the set. So I brought 2 different mega packs from here. The first one has a bunch of like really interesting ones. So I've done the dragons, and again, these are just water-based markers. I just coloured them straight in with the markers, covered them in Mod Podge Extreme glitter, and laminated them. So I really like these Dragon Castle ones. These ones are fun, especially with the glitter. And then she had a different set that had, each of these sets had like hundreds of bookmarks in them. So these ones are more like your standard bookmark. And so I printed those and did a bunch of those. So these ones here are all done with water, like super tips as watercolor. It's just playing around with watercolory effects and seeing what I could create. And everything's covered in Mod Podge Extreme glitter. So they're really simple, but I was having a lot of fun just playing around with watercolory and, you know, just having a bit of fun with it. I don't know which way that goes. And then this page here, I did the Crayola Super Tips as the background. I did colour in the characters with pencil, and I only did selected like a little bit of glitter on these ones. And I did use like some gel pens and stuff like that on them too. But yeah. So that page there, I did like that. And then I also have, so I'm trying to sort them as I go through. I also have this page here, which is Under the Sea. And I used Kuretake Ganzai granulating watercolors to do the background. And then again, colored in with water-based markers, just straight colored in. And then Mod Podge Extreme glitter on top. And then this one again, granulating watercolors in the background, and then just colored in the image straight with water-based markers and covered in glitter. And so I have a bunch more of these that are in progress as well. I haven't counted them as whips, and obviously, like, even though they're big PDF packs, I haven't counted them as a book or anything, but I did count this as quite a number of pages, because as you can see, it was a lot. I made a lot of bookmarks this month, but I do need a lot of bookmarks, which is part of the reason why I've had to film this in 3 parts, because I did not have enough bookmarks to do it all in one big massive film. But now I have a lot more bookmarks, and they can all go into my bookmark container, which will be nice, which I need to clear some stuff out of. Okay, now they're in the container, ready to go. And that means as we go through these, I can pull these bookmarks out and put them in the container too. So this is Bulls de Pools, or Furbles. I think it's called Furbles. It's usually what people call it. This is by Diane Defoe. And I did the Otter page. This was actually a page I started in May for Mermaid, but I hadn't gotten back to it. So finally got back to it in July. So I had done the iridescent watercolor background with inks and stuff like that. Again, I used the ink that bled through, which was a really silly move, so we're going to have fun cleaning that one. But yeah, I came back to it, and this is, had the background done but hadn't coloured in anything, and so I chose to just pull out paint pens and just go for it with paint pens. And then I also used jelly rolls to do like some finer details where the paint pens were blocking things out, and I really like how this came together. And then I did also pull out some glitter as well, so as well as the iridescent background, there's also some sparkly glitter on there, and that's a Mod Podge glitter gel, and I just kind of like dabbed it on in places. So yeah, I really do like how that came together. So it is Bulls de Pools. And then I have 4 Rita Burmans to show you. So I was On the 30th of June, I had my hysterectomy. So for like the first, I was meant to spend the whole month of July in recovery, but honestly, I only spent a couple of days in bed. But I did have a couple of days where I was in bed doing bed colouring. So I had certain things prepped and ready to go in bed. And one of the things that I brought to bed was the Rita Berman books, because I felt like they would be really good ones to work on. And I had Neocolor 2s and the super golden markers, and so that's basically what I did. Was on each page I just used the Neocolor 2s to create a background, and then the super golden markers to just go over the pattern. So it's really simple coloring, but this is really what I was in the mood for while I was there. It was just these sort of pattern pages, and just went for that. So this is the one in my journey through Africa. This gorgeous heart with the green leaves. There's two different greens there and a bit of gold and red, and then the Neocolor background. And then we have Under the Microscope with the Starry Night Sky one. In retrospect, I would probably do another coat in the background first before I did all the stars, but hey. It is very shiny. And then since we're doing Under the Microscope, we'll do Under the Microscope Water, which is just a shell. So again, Neocolor in the background, and then just the super golden markers for on top. Really simple. And then the Seasons book, which has my favorite one, which is this one here. So I did also use a little bit of Jelly Roll glaze on this one too, and yeah, I like this one a lot. So yeah, those are the 4 Rita Berman pages that I did. And then speaking of surgery prep, I also went through a couple of books and pre-prepped a few pages with alcohol markers, knowing that I wouldn't be able to lift my alcohol marker tub, but knowing I would have a set of pencils beside me so that I could work on these while resting in bed. So I did that, and I worked on them slowly throughout the month. So the first one I have is in The Cutest of Cute Amigurumi Critters by Kay Camero. And we have this cow page here. So again, alcohol marker base, and then Crayola colored pencils to do some shading. And I did go over it with a little bit of stickles, and then I did use Mod Podge glaze just on the eyes as well. So yeah, really simple, but again, a lot of this was in bed colouring. And then we have the 50 Woodland Miniatures by Chameleia and Jacob. And we have the Woodpecker. So again, the alcohol marker was already based in June, and then in July I came in with the Crayola coloured pencils and the super golden markers and the jelly rolls, because again, this is what I had beside me. And finished off the Woodpecker. And then we have 50 monster themed miniatures, and there's a lot in here. I actually prepped too many pages because I forgot about 3 of them that I prepped that I found while marking this out. So yeah, I prepped a lot in here, and the reason for that is that I'm also trying to use up and go through my old alcohol markers, and a lot of them are very old markers with very random colors. And so I was pulling out 5 colors at a time randomly and using it to base the page, so that I would just do whatever palette came up. And I might add more markers to it. This is a classic example. So these stack of monsters here, each of these was colored in one set of 5 markers. So for example, I went diving into the box, I pulled out a yellow, a darker yellow, a grey, a pink, and a red. It's like, cool, there's my palette. And then I coloured in the monster, trying to make it balance. This one, obviously, I pulled out a light blue, a green, this tealy, and dark grey. And then I think I pulled out the brown for the horns here. And so it was making each of the 5 colours work to colour in. So that's why this monster one got a lot done in it, because it worked brilliantly for pulling out 5 markers and just working with whatever random palette we pulled out, because they're monsters, they can be any colour. So I prepped a lot in here, and then came in with Crayola pencils or other pencils and like markers or gel pens or glitters as I was going through the month. So we'll just start at the start and work our way through. So some of them have more shading and more detail than the others. So obviously that's the page from June. Yeah, some of them I did do quite a bit of shading on. And then some of them not so much shading, but maybe more like shimmery markers or different bits and pieces. So it was just really playing around with different bits and pieces and seeing what I like the look of. This one I didn't even do any pencil shading. This one I just did paint pen highlighting. We have a cat trying to get up right now. This one I didn't do any shading, but I did go in with sparkle markers and gel pens and just do gel pen effects. I like the Stickles slime bubbles. Still makes me very happy. I think I was going to go in with more sparkle effects on this one and I didn't. This one's fun for the fact that it's so like, you know, colourful but death. So yeah, those are all the pages that I did in monster themed miniatures. And as I said, there was a couple more that were based that I did not get to that I'll need to finish off. Then we have Tales from Atlantis by Hannah Carlson. Again, this was another one that I had in bed because it was hardcover, so I could use it also to lean on. And I did use the Neocolor 2s in the background. I'm not as happy with this background. And then just super golden markers and jelly rolls to colour in the page. It's not my favourite thing in the world, but it was fine. Bead colouring. Again, I wasn't feeling well. I was on surgery recovery, so yeah, did the job. So I have Mini Mania Volume 3, which I entirely forgot that I had coloured until I was doing this. It wasn't even on my list. That's how little I remembered that I coloured this page. But I did colour this page. And so for this one, I actually used the Crayola Pastel Super Tips set. Because I just took that whole set with me to bed to colour in this page. And then there is a bunch of Jelly Roll glitter pens, and then the super golden markers, a little bit of Neocolor just to do the sky and the grass, and then I did use the Stickles glitter gel, and I just kind of dabbled that in place over the sky to put a bit of glitter in. But I really love how this one turned out, and I can't believe I entirely forgot about it. But no pencil shading or anything like that. I just literally coloured it with the super tips. But again, this was another good bed colouring one. So that is Mini Mania Volume 3. And then I have Dark Fairies by Tabref. So this one was a finish off from May. And was me getting the group page done from May that I had started but had not finished. So I coloured in the entire background with water-based markers, and then I'd started doing some of the mermaid, and then I just stopped. And so I did finish off colouring the mermaid with gel pens, and this was all done with like glittery metallic gel pens, and I just wasn't loving the background, and I didn't want a pencil shader, and honestly I just wasn't loving it. And my rule is, if in doubt, glitter it out. So I did. I glittered out the whole page. I mean, I freaking love it now because it's just like a glitter fest. But we did lose some of the glittery details on her, but I like the background a lot more. It's very hard to see because of the glitteriness of the page, and it's very textured as well, so it feels like you're sort of looking under Ripley water. It's very hard to see her, but she is meant to be a siren, so I think that's kind of cool. Kind of dig it. So yeah, the page is also incredibly thick now because it's such a thick coating. So you can see how much it bled through there too with the Mod Podge on top. But yeah, so that page is at least done and incredibly sparkly. And now we've got another one coming up in here this month that I entirely forgot about. So yeah, we'll see if we get to that this month. And then, so that was the last of sort of like the bed colorings, or, you know, the colorings that I did while in recovery. And then I went to the desk and I produced, I think, what is going to be some of my favorite pages of the year. So this one is Aries. This is the Magical Lands of Mania, I believe. And I did this witch page, which I love this witch page so much. It's so cute. I love how it turned out too. So I used Inktense to base, and there's some paint pens over the sky that I sort of used my fingers and bled out and played around with to create like this cloudless sky. And then there is the Stickles glitter gel that I have finger dabbed and placed all over the sky. I love with those little stars in it. I just feel like I love the sky so much. And then, as I said, Inktense for the base, and then Prismacolor pencils to shade in everything. There's a little bit of Stickles as well on all the flowers down here, and there's a lot of paint pen to try and remove paint pen, to remove edges and give it a bit of a lineless look. And a few different like gel pens and stuff like that for sparkly effects and bits and pieces. But yeah, I love how this one turned out. I still really love that sky. But that is my first page in the Magical Lands of Mania. Eerie. Then we have Bat Boy, as we were calling him. This is Colouring Heaven Fantasy Kingdom Special by Chris Ortega. And we did the Lair of the Damned page. So I based this on a Cambion, which is a half-fiend creature from D&D. So we went really hard in sort of like the fiendish devil creature. I used Inktense I used definitely Inktense around. I think I might have just gone in straight with Polychromos here. Yeah, I feel like I coloured directly on the page with Polychromos. No, I did Inktense base everything. That's right. I did a Neo Colour 2 base, I'm remembering now. We very lightly based everything, just to sort of block in colours with Neo Colour 2s. Then I came in with Polychromos and shaded in him. And then for the background, I went back over it with Inktense because I knew I could create this sort of stony texture really quickly with Inktense. And then there's a little bit of like metallics and stuff like that for some features. But yeah, when I get it without the pencil shine, because pencil shine, yeah, really fun. Really enjoyed doing it. I really enjoy colouring abs. There's something about the structure of abs that's just fun to colour. So yeah, that's a Bat Boy and Fantasy Kingdom Special by Chris Ortega. And then we have Mythographic Fantasy Forest by Fabiana Atanasio. And we have this page here, which is the Tree Sprite. I love how this one turned out. This is just so cute. So this one, definitely Polychromos for the pencils. And I know some paint pens and these more of the Stickles glitter gel. I want to say I based it with Inktense. The background is Neo Colour. And I was playing around with Neo Colour 2s a lot as well. It's either Inktense or Neo Colour 2s. I'm going to lean towards Neo Colour 2s. But yeah, definitely Polychromos and some Pablos for all the shading and paint pens. And yeah, just really playing with that light effect and that darkness on the side and then the light over there. Yeah, I really love how this one came together too. And all sparkle. So that is Mythographic Fantasy Forest by Fabiana Atanasio. And then I have the Ken Matsuda coloring book, and I did not 1 but 2 pages in here. And so kind of want to show you the first half without showing you the second half. It sounds weird, but you'll understand in a minute. So I did this Salamander, Axelottle, Toad. I did this one first, and I did take inspiration from Ken Matsuda's actual original piece of art, which if I remember, I'll put up the image here so you can see the original. But I definitely took inspiration from it, and I was just using Crayola Super Tips as watercolor, just playing around and trying to make sense of it. And I knew by the time I finished it, it wasn't perfect, but I had learned a lot along the way. I was like, okay, I'm kind of understanding what he's doing here. But I think if I did it again, I would like have even more understanding. And so I did on a stream the next day, go in and do the next half. And you can already see the depth of improvement between 1 and 2. So again, this one's not perfect to the original. I did take inspiration from the original. I definitely changed up a few things, but I love how much more depth I got into this one. And it's definitely on the oops, sorry, bumping my camera. It's definitely developed a lot more, and I'm excited to see how much further I can push this technique. But yeah, this is all done with Crayola Super Tips as watercolor. I have a sneaking suspicion my camera's been out of focus this whole time. Oh boy. Anyway, Crayola Super Tips as water, and yeah, using the original image for inspiration, but definitely taking on my own interpretation of it as well. And I really, really love how this came together. So that's a Ken Matsuda, and then the final one I have to show is Leon's Journey, which is definitely the page that really inspired the love affair. So we started off with this introduction character page, and we are coloring this as if Leon is my cat Shadow. So Shadow's colors were chosen. I have also recorded them because I want to keep it consistent. And then we colored in Lily and Marie and Latte and Mocha and did all this. And this is primarily all polychromos, and then a little bit of like a metallic gold gel pen. So really straightforward. Just some beautiful coloring. And while I was coloring it, I then got an idea for this one. And this one I freaking love so much. Oh, hopefully we're not shaking too much. I just bumped my camera again. Sorry. Trying to sort out this focus issue. Yeah, so then I did this page here, and I love how this one turned out. The background is Neo Color 2 with some paint pens, and I was just experimenting to see if I could make a bokeh style effect, and I do love how that came together. And then polychromos pencils for the majority of the shading, but we did pull out Prismacolor for the butterfly. There's also a bit of like a fine liner pen and some paint pens, but yeah, primarily polychromos pencils. And I love how it came out so much. So yeah, that is everything I colored in July. So yeah, that was everything that I completed over the last 3 months. And there were some other things as well that have not been completed. So now I have some whips. So to update you all on my whip list, because I do track it, and monster themed miniatures, there are 3 more pages that I based that I have not shaded in yet. I purely forgot that there was more beyond this point. For some reason I had them as the last one that I based, but no, there were 3 more beyond that. So yeah, so I've got 3 more monster themed miniatures that I'll wrap up at some point. I did, was it Witches or was it Year of Witches? I might have grabbed the wrong book here. Grabbed the wrong book. Okay. in Year of Witches, I have a page that I started, which is this one here. This is just using water-based markers. This is another one that I started when I was in bed, and I just haven't gotten back to, so I'll need to get back to that one at some point. I have the Thomas Kincaid Disney Princess Colouring Book poster book, and I started the Beauty and the Beast poster. I love how the sky is progressing. We just didn't make it back to it. We started this in June. This is on my list for August though, so we'll hopefully get back to that one. I did do a tiny amounts of work on the Kingdom of Curious Creatures whip. This is one I created in May for Mermaid. And then in June I did come in and do like the top of this cat. So, but yeah, this is watercolor background with iridescent watercolors, and then the Castle Art Harmonious pencils. So there's still a lot more to go on this one, but that one has been created. Another leftover from Mermaid is in Fairy Tales and Folklore by Emily Leidenberg-Olberg, which is this one here. So I have used some iridescent watercolors and stuff in the background here, and then this has just all been based with, I think it's been based with Inktense, but it could also be Neocolor 2s, it could also be Albert Dürer's. I feel like there's several things that have been layered into this base here, because there's a lot more work still needed on this one. But I do like the background colour. But yeah, that one's not gone very far, but that's another whip that's been created. And then the last whip is an existing whip, which is a Nalco Nako Story of Precious Cats, which is the Treehouse page, which I did do a little bit more work on this month. So the background itself is almost finished. I've just got to do the sunflower plants and the flowers, and then do the cats themselves, and then this page will be done. As the group is also, that page was the last 2-monther that I haven't even started, and then the current 2-month page, which is kind of for July, August, is this one here. So I might, if I finish the treehouse, skip ahead and start working on this one here, because I'd like to sort of catch up a bit, but there's also no pressure. So yeah, that's all my current whips. And so where we're at after all of that, after June, July, May, June, July, I have I'm just counting. So between the 3 months, it was a total of 106 pages that is done. Now that's including a lot of bookmarks. So I'm pretty sure like at least 30 of those are bookmarks. There was a lot of bookmarks. My whip list, I've written it down as 10 because I entirely forgot about the free monster minis. So my whip list is actually 13. So I do have to update that. But yeah, we're up to 13 now with work in progress pages, which isn't ideal because I do like my whips to be under 10 single figures. So I really do need to get onto this and get this down. However, if I can knock out the free monster minis ones, and then if I finish off the treehouse like I'm planning, we'll get back down to 9 at least. But yeah, I'd like to get a few more knocked out. And then the other big thing is books, because between May and June, you can see by the fact I've had to stick in pieces of paper, I got a lot of books. So at the end of April, my book count was 283. By the end of July, 3 months later, my book count is 387. I have gotten nearly 100 books in the last 3 months. So there's a lot of books in my collection at the moment that are unworked. We were at 95% of my collection work with only 15 books unworked. I now have 102 unworked books. And I am working a little bit towards getting those books worked in. But yeah, it's going to take, it takes time, and that's okay. So my worked, at the end of April, I have worked in 268 unworked books. I've now worked in 286 unworked books. But unfortunately, because of the increase in book size, collection size, we have, you know, we have a decrease of the percentage. So I'm now down to 74% of my collection worked, which is still a large amount of my collection worked. And as I said, I've gotten a lot of books in the last 2 months. So it's okay if, you know, a bunch of books that come in aren't worked in yet. You know, they will get there eventually. But yeah, so there is currently 102 unworked books in my collection, and hopefully we'll get that down in the month of August. So yeah, we do have a few books planned. I've already started getting onto a few things, and yeah, we're kind of still going with the flow. I'm still finding my coloring spoons, but I feel like we're getting back onto the right path, and I love how this one turned out so much. It's definitely my favorite of the month. So I would love to hear from you and hear what you've been up to and how your coloring's going, and to know what you loved seeing in this massive long video. I hope you enjoyed the long video. I try not to ramble too much this time, so hopefully we're not too bad. But yeah, all the other heart to you all. Thank you so much for being here and watching. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!